After, living this life as a salesperson, there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that I learned in my own journey. I tried to become really self-aware to figure out like what is working and what needs to change. And also to understand that nothing stays static. The customers are changing, the market changes, and we have to adapt. And unfortunately, in most cases, salespeople in sales organizations are not quick to adapt and change as fast as customers are changing.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Grow It podcast. One of your hosts here, Trey King. And today we are very excited to have our guest, Mr. Steve Reid, founder and CEO of Venatas. And as you guys know, this is the podcast where thought leaders come to talk about their niche expertise, as well as we'll be diving into his story a bit today and then what his company does. So make sure to stick around for this one. But without further ado, Steve, welcome. Thanks for hopping on today.
Thank you, Treg. Glad to be here. Appreciate the invite.
I don't know if I pronounced that company name correctly. Is that Venatas? I got
It
that right?
is. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good. That's good. Having said that, Steve, if you don't mind, just to on your end, just to quickly introduce yourself and just, give us a bit around your background.
Sure. So I come from a sales and marketing background. Spent about 30 years in marketing, and
Wow.
I've done just about, or 30 years in marketing and selling. And I've done just about every job that a salesperson can do, from carrying the quota to leading the teams and running revenue operations and enablement. So 4 years ago, I started the company Venatas right around the pandemic year. And I was looking for a way to kind of think about what I want to do in the last few years of my career while still love to work, but reaching that point where it's thinking about how I want to spend the last few years really doing the things I'm passionate about. And so we really focus at Venatas on helping accelerate revenue. So anything that has to do with go-to-market motions and particularly around selling, whether you're looking at finding a way to get out of a revenue slump, or if you're wanting to scale your business and figure out how to reach that next plateau and break through, we can help with operational issues, with planning and strategy,
Mm.
and especially around sales talent optimization. How can we help your team find another gear through better selling techniques that really match the way customers want to buy? So that's what we do and what I focus on.
Wow, that's awesome. Tell me, obviously there is a lot of competition in this market, and there's always new sales techniques coming out, and there's a lot of acronyms and and ways how to go forward with things, and a lot of companies have got their own methodologies. Tell me from a market perspective, Steve, what are you picking up? What are the latest trends that you currently find in your industry?
Yeah, I think it's back to basics is really the key.
Yeah.
Look, I will tell you that many, many times I'm asked by clients or, potential customers, Steve, what do you think is the best sales methodology? And there's a lot of them. You mentioned, there's Challenger and Medic and
Yeah.
this value selling. And here's the thing I say about all of them. I think they're all, really viable, and they all are very good. But the best methodology is the one that you will commit to. It's the one that you will do everything that you need to do to adopt it, because, and
Right.
certainly there are methodologies that are going to fit your market, your selling, the complexity of the selling, the size of the sale, how long it takes to sell. So there could be models that are going to be better for you than others.
Yeah.
However, nothing happens if you don't commit. And what I tell customers is, honestly, I don't sell sales training. What I help you with is full learning implementation. So we have to go from learning, which is we can deliver the facts, we can tell you
Yeah.
what this is, but what you want to do is go all the way to doing, because it's the doing where you really see the impact. And I don't want to be in the content delivery business. I want to be in the impact making business. So if we can't see that the fruit of all of the effort that we went through to learn something new, that it didn't yield a measurable impact on sales and revenue and customer effect, then it's not been worth doing and it's not worth the investment. So I do help customers go through that entire journey. And it takes more than just delivering the facts, delivering the training. That's a foundational piece, but you have to do all the practice work. You have to operationalize it. You have to show evidence that
Yeah.
there's impact, and that's through high adoption. So what I see is today's buyers are really frustrated with salespeople.
Yeah.
And there's a great study by Korn Ferry, a global study of buyers. And the reason they're frustrated is number one, they don't think salespeople know how to solve business problems. They show up as product experts and they understand their product and they understand how to talk about it to the point that they can almost literally train you on how to use the product and implement it and so forth.
Yeah.
And we
Good
see
point.
this a lot in technology, but really what the customer is buying is they're not really buying the product, they're buying the impact that the product can have on the business. And without the impact, they wouldn't buy the product. They have to go hand in hand. And if you can't talk about what is the business issue that's going on inside the company that needs to be solved, and how do you measure that issue, and what do you want the future state to look like? And when you ask those kinds of questions, the customer doesn't talk about a box with lights that flash. They talk about something within the business that gets improved. It's metrics, it's
Yeah.
key things that align to strategic priorities. And unfortunately, salespeople over the last 10, 15 years have not received that kind of training.
Good point.
And this is really what we focus on is, yes, we can adopt a model, but the model isn't the skill. The model needs these selling skills that you apply to the model in order for you to really reach the customers the way they want to buy and the way they want to interact with salespeople. And that's the work that we do is to help you get there.
Yeah, that is quite profound what you just said. I've got quite a big history when it comes to these things as well. And let me tell you what I found. It's actually quite a lot what we do here at Grow. It's in the sense of getting back to basics. From we tend to move back to people buy from people. And when it comes to the sales side of things, what I've picked up as well is that even it gets even more and more so that we're trying to make too much use of systems or technology for that matter to do things for us, and then we try to impose on what we offer to those specific prospect for that matter, and not necessarily finding out where they're currently at. Is there a need for something like that, and take it from their value and see, and then see how does or can, if there is a fit, or what we do can put onto the client. And that's something that I 100% to agree with you to latch on to that, Steve. So you know there's a lot of competition when it comes to these types of services out there, right? And from a value point of view, just a couple of things that you mentioned already now, and then obviously the research I've done on you. There's a lot of value. I can see what your company offers, and I can fully understand why you are so successful, your business and yourself. But I would like to hear from, just on your point of view, what is the value that you basically bring to the table, when it comes to the services that you guys offer?
Yeah, so after living this life as a salesperson, there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that I learned in my own journey, and I tried to become really self-aware to figure out like what is working and what needs to change. And also to understand that nothing stays static. The customers are changing, the market changes, and we have to adapt. And unfortunately, in most cases, salespeople in sales organizations are not quick to adapt and change as fast as customers are changing. So if you think about the way that we as consumers buy anything these days, it has dramatically changed in 10 years. I will tell you that this year, probably my wife and I, when we looked at buying our Christmas gifts, it was probably the first year that everything we bought was online. That literally among
Yeah.
all the gifts we bought, we did not go into a store and do a traditional buying experience. We ordered everything online. Well, the thing about an online buying experience is it creates a certain kind of expectation. And in today's business to business buyers, when business is buying from business, it's people buying from people, as you said. And
Yeah.
those people are bringing expectations around the kind of curated experience that they wish they could get in a business buying environment. And more, it's extracting the salesperson out of the transaction.
Out of the
And
equation. Yeah.
like the data says, 70% of business buyers would choose not to work with a salesperson at all if they could complete their entire transaction without doing so. And when you add on top of that, if you show up as a salesperson, really not engaging with them in a way that makes them feel like you understand their business, you understand their needs, and know how to solve their problem and speak in those terms, then it makes them want to push you away even more. And so what what I think the impact that we make is that we solve that problem. We teach a collection of skills that are fundamental skills that meet the buyer and today's buyer where they want to be, where they are, what they're looking for. It helps salespeople understand how to engage with today's buyer who would prefer that you're not even there and who are calling you later and later into their buying process where they've already made a lot of assumptions and a lot of decisions that you have to catch up on in order to really help them. And so it boils down to a collection of skills and a collection of moments in the selling process that I like to call winning moments.
Right.
And we teach a set of skills for those winning moments. And of course, every winning moment can be a losing moment. So these are high stakes moments in the selling process, and we believe there are four. So at the beginning, we have to do really great discovery. That's a winning moment, and it can take a period of time. It can be one call. Sometimes it can be, 2 or 3 weeks that you're engaging with a customer. But there's a set of skills for winning discovery, and then when you kind of won the discovery and they keep wanting to talk to you, you have to win value alignment. So value alignment is when you say, I know what you're looking for, and I have value, and I can prove that we can deliver the value you're looking for. So you'll choose me and my solution over other competitive solutions because we're going to not only claim the value, we're going to be able to explain it and show you that it's true. And then you have to win the business case. And this is a key one. I was just speaking with a client the other day, and I asked them, when you're presenting your final solution to the decision maker that has the ability to say yes or no and holds the budget, what do you
Yeah.
give them? And they said an order form. And an order form is not a business case. It's a list of things with a price. A business case explains to an executive level buyer, why are we doing this? What are we solving and what outcome are we going to get? And we know that there are key questions that an executive will ask when reviewing a business case. And by the way, you're not the only one asking them for money. They
Yeah.
have to make trade-offs and decide why to fund this thing instead of another. So that high stakes moment of understanding the selling skills you need to craft and deliver a compelling and convincing business case. And then the final thing is close management. And this is a funny one because I'll ask salespeople, how many times do you get the yes? And yet the deal takes several more weeks to become official because you've got to go through all the paperwork and then maybe
Yes.
you
Sales cycle.
forecasted it and it slips into the next quarter. So close management after the yes is another big deal that helps salespeople accurately forecast and really manage all of the paperwork that has to get done, the process to get the deal over the line where it's official, where we're really in business with each other. So that's the curriculum we've built. And operationally, we help you set up your operation to really match the buyer. And that's what they're going through.
Yeah.
Everything that we're doing in those winning moments supports the buyer's micro decisions along the way to end up in the close and end up for your business and for the customer to be in a win-win situation.
Mm. Tell me, Steve. Thank you for that. That's a really good explanation, and now I fully understand the value. Tell me from a from a founder CEO perspective, right? We've got a lot of listeners that might be working for a company and they're stuck in a rut in the sense that they want to jump ship or they want to go do their own thing, or they or even just want to pivot. Uh, is there maybe some advice, that you're willing to share on? I mean, you've been doing this for quite a long time, man. Is there maybe some advice that you're willing to share on, what it takes to be a to be that leader, to be that CEO, to be that founder? What kind of mindset we talking about?
Well, first of all, I'd say you have to be all in. Uh, you can't, this isn't something that you sort of have a little bit of commitment to. You have to
Right.
have high commitment to it. And so I think one of the things I see is that a lot of people desire certain things. But
Mm,
if that desire is not backed up by commitment, the commitment to do all the stuff that has to be done, to work the hours, to, really to lay the groundwork and to keep going, then all the desire in the world is not going to turn into an outcome. So commitment has to be there. And you should just expect to have to do more than you think you're going to have to do.
yeah.
um, and so, listen, if I could spend my day, the entire day, and all I ever did in my business was deliver directly in front of clients, then this would be a dream. But the
Yeah.
truth is, there's a lot of stuff that has to happen to keep the business moving, and a lot of things that pull me away from being in front of clients and making an impact and mentoring and coaching and things like that I really love, but it comes along with the job. So you have to be willing to do that.
Yeah.
Another thing I would say is that you need to have the ability to make decisions, but look, you sometimes taking too long to make a decision is a real problem. And so a lot of people are waiting until they feel more confident and just waiting until they get another piece of data in,
Overthinking
and
maybe as well.
overthinking and not confident enough yet. And by the time they get confident, the so much time has passed that the impetus around, the momentum around having made the decision earlier, you've lost all that. You've lost all that speed and velocity. And so I would say, like, get comfortable with being uncomfortable and use your judgment. And when you have about 60 to 70% of the information you think you need, that's probably enough. Because what I've found is like getting to 100% doesn't change my decision. It just changes how fast I make it. And so the other thing is like be ready to pivot. So once you've done it, you don't have to be stuck. Like if you're learning, then adjust. Make change your decision or learn something from it, pivot, and then keep going. Because perseverance is there, and don't expect not to make mistakes. You just can't live in the mistakes. Right? So you got to live in the future and where things are going and learn from the things. Don't make it a habit, but
Yeah.
don't live there. Don't get caught up in the emotion of the thing that didn't go perfect. Because perfect is don't get in the way of progress waiting on perfection.
Mm, mm,
Um, just it's just not going to happen. And then the final thing I would say is like you've got to have convincing passion. Like if you don't believe in the thing you're doing, and if you haven't laid the groundwork through through the knowledge, the study, and really the continual learning that's required, customers aren't going to buy it.
mm.
They, they don't see it, and you're not convincing. Um, So this isn't something you sort of play at. It's something you can fully commit to and that you're constantly iterating. Um, that's what I've learned. And I've done this now 3 times. I've been an entrepreneur. This is the third time I've started a business, and I know a whole lot more than the first time. But still, it's work.
Yeah,
And I've been very, very fortunate that, you know, things have played out really well, but it's intentional. It's because you put in the effort and you mind the P's and Q's and you're fully committed. You're always in and always
yeah.
learn.
Yeah, that's such good advice. Steve, I need to thank you for willing to come on today, for sharing, you know, knowledge that you have and experiences, and thank you for obviously telling us more about your about your business and what you guys do. I'm sure there's a couple of people that's making some notes right now. So, to Steve, just lastly from my side, where can they get hold of you guys?
Yeah, I mean the easiest way is just to shoot me an email.
Right.
You can send me an email at steve@venatas.com, and you can probably see it up here on my screen.
Yeah.
I've got, Steve Reid, but it's just steve@venatas.com if you want to drop me a note. You could also find me on LinkedIn, Steve Reid, and then Venatas. If you want to, do a connection request there or send me a message, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to connect with you. And I'd love to learn. I'd love to learn what's going on, what your thoughts are, and if you need help in any of these areas, love to talk about that and see if we can be of service. But yeah, we're part of this community of learning, right? We're all in this thing together. And
Yeah.
I love connecting with people that particularly have a story to tell. So absolutely reach out if you want to explore this topic anymore. And I'd love to learn what's going on with you too.
Excellent. Thanks for hopping on, Steve. All the best to you guys.
Thank you, Treg. Appreciate it.